Today is a significant day here in this local church of the Archdiocese of Boston. Our 5 newly ordained priests move into their parishes and begin their priestly ministry. And along with them, there are many, many priests here in the Archdiocese who begin new assignments today. Very mindful of them, having worked with them these past months to prepare for this day, and ask you to join me in praying for them. It was 8 o'clock at night, and it was indeed a school night. Young Tommy, glued to the television, was interrupted by his father, who said, "Tommy, it's time for bed." The young boy got up and began to make his way upstairs. His father called out to him, "Remember to wash your face and to brush your teeth." After several minutes, Tommy's father climbed the stairs himself and went in to check in on his son, already in bed. The father said to him, "Tommy, did you wash your face?" From his bed, Tommy said, "Yes, Dad, I did." And then he asked, "Tommy, did you brush your teeth?" And Tommy said, "Oh, yes, Dad, I did." Not a minute later, the father appeared in the doorway of Tommy's bedroom, holding his toothbrush, and said, "Tommy, your toothbrush is completely dry." He said, "You could not have possibly have brushed your teeth. Did you lie to me?" And Tommy responded, "No, Dad, I didn't lie to you. I brushed my teeth this morning. You didn't ask me when I brushed my teeth." Children are like that, always wanting to find a loophole in their parents' rules and in the order of the house, always trying to trip up their parents. We've all done that. But it's not only do we try that with our parents, we also try it with God. All of us, because we're born into the state of original sin and there are the consequences of its effects, we try to catch God in a loophole, try to find some way that God is not clear about his rules. We try to find some way in which we can justify our behavior because God wasn't explicit in what God had asked. And so we can be young, like young Tommy, who said, "Well, you didn't say when did you brush your teeth, you just asked if I brushed my teeth." When we get into that kind of mentality, which we're all likely to do from time to time, we really are looking at God as if he were some other creature, as if somehow God were defined and God were held by the bounds of his own creation. And therefore, we think that God is sometimes going to either make a mistake or is going to be less than clear in what God desires. And with that in mind, we want to trip God up because we want to find a way to do whatever it is we want to do and have it justified in God's eyes. Is that not what the elders and the Pharisees were doing with Jesus? Is it right to pay the temple tax? Is it right to pay the tax or not? Trying to trip him up, knowing that if he answered yes, it would mean one thing, no another way. In either way, Jesus would be putting himself in contempt. Sometimes we want to find God in contempt. It'll make our lives just that much easier, so we think. But we're all called to holiness of life. And essentially, being called to holiness means putting things in proper order, prioritizing what is most important. And for the Christian, that means God in the center of all things. And then we organize our lives. That is, we organize our time and how we spend our money and our relationships, how we vote, how we care for one another. All of that gets organized with God in the center. It's hard to do. But yet the grace of the sacraments and the practice of our Catholic faith brings us closer to achieving to what God calls us, to be people of holiness.